Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Viewers, for the rest of the country, it was an ordinary Tuesday, but not for the tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. Tourists flocked Pahalgam just to spend some time with family. Instead, some of them were rained with bullets. As we speak, 27 people have lost their lives, and we can only hope that the death toll doesn't mount any further. The videos coming out of Pahalgam today will send shivers down your spine. A tourist managed to actually capture the attack on camera. He is literally praying for survival. He says only God can save us now. Tourists also managed to capture the moment when the attack took place. You can hear gunshots in the video. Just imagine, they were ordinary tourists who left for Pahalgam only for a holiday. And today, as they return back as mere mortal remains, many questions remain unanswered. Watch what the tourists who were there on that fateful evening managed to capture on camera.
यहाँ पे नहीं आप टेंशन मत लो। अब बेटा आप यहाँ पे रहो, हम साथ में। मैडम ये जो भीड़ सब है प्रेशर, आप टेंशन मत लो।
मेरे पति का बच्चा लो।
हम बचा देगा, कोई बात नहीं। भाई तकरीबन फोन दब से मन युवा डिजाइन किया है। ठीक है हम बचा देंगे ना, आप टेंशन मत लो। मैं आ रहा हूँ। मैं कहाँ पे आपका ये हस्बैंड? क्या हुआ इसको, क्या हुआ?
Please ask for help. We don't need.
Okay, don't worry. You okay? You need a water, sir?
Sir, we'll manage. Just ask for help.
Okay, you firstly you give the hands water, drop of water. Take a drop of water, sir.
यहाँ पर अटैक हुआ आतंकवादियों का। हम लोग बाल बचे हैं, मगर परमात्मा रक्षा करेगा। बुजुर्गों का आशीर्वाद, भगवान की कृपा से जरूर बचेंगे हम।
And the government has rushed to take stock of the situation. Home Minister Amit Shah held first a meeting in the national capital and then rushed to Srinagar. He's held a high-level meeting a short while ago in the presence of Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha and other top officials. The Home Minister is also expected to meet the hospitalized victims shortly. The Prime Minister has also strongly condemned the terror attack, and in a post on social media platform X, he says his government will bring the perpetrators to justice and no one involved in the attack will be spared. He also says the evil agenda will never succeed and our resolve to fight terror is unshakable. But viewers, as the government vows action, today we remember some of these innocent civilians who lost their lives in Pahalgam. Manjunath from Karnataka was one such innocent civilian who lost his life in this dastardly terror attack. Here's his last video, a video that he recorded with his wife moments before the attack, completely unaware of what lay ahead.
मैं मंजुनाथ शिवमोगा कर्नाटक से हम इंडियन ट्रैवल स्टोर्स में बुक करके कश्मीर प्रवास में आए हैं। अब हमारा कश्मीर टूर का दूसरा दिन है।
कल हम बोट हाउस में ठहरे थे। बोट हाउस तो बहुत अच्छा था। अब हम शिकारा राइड कर रहे हैं।
शिकारा राइड कर रहे हैं कश्मीर में।
शिकारा राइड करवा रहे हैं मोहम्मद रफीक जी, और हमारा सब टूर ऑर्गेनाइज किया है काजल ठाकुर जी, इंडियन ट्रैवल स्टोर से।
बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा सर्विस। धन्यवाद, थैंक
यू काजल मैम।
Viewers, in fact, Times Now has accessed the entire, of course, list. It's not the first time that this has happened, where there are such cold-blooded terror attacks taking place when there are such big VIP visits. Let's tell you about some of the past instances. Now, what has happened, in fact, in March 2000 was that there was an attack a day before US President Bill Clinton's visit here in India. This took place in Anantnag. In Pulwama, in the year 2019, there was an attack 5 days before Saudi Crown Prince's visit to India as well. In Pahalgam, in Jammu and Kashmir, now we've seen the attack take place during US Vice President J.D. Vance's visit. The big question is, this is just nothing but an attempt to draw attention as far as this high-profile visit is concerned. Is that the timing that can be questioned as far as this entire episode is concerned? Also, Times Now Zach says the entire sequence of events, in fact, breaking news coming in of what transpired in Pahalgam. This is what top sources are telling Times Now. The terrorists came from the hills at around 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon, wearing army camouflage. They also asked for the identification of tourists. They separated the women and children from the men. They were carrying empty cartridges of AK-47 and armored bullets. However, this area doesn't fall under the army's cover. We know that there was an army officer present at the spot, however, and told civilians to run for cover. The firing continued for 5 minutes and 27 lost their lives. Priyank joining us with this bit of breaking information at this point of time. Priyank, very, very significant as to how it was meticulously carried out. There was pre-preparation on part of all of those terrorists, and they knew exactly what they wanted to do. Priyank.
Yes, Sati Madhav, according to our information, what we have got to know that the terrorists came down from the hillside approximately around 2:30, and after looking at the women and the children there, they separated both the women and children and the men on the side. Later to that, indiscriminate firing happened, and what we have also got to know that steel bullet empty cartridges as well as the AK-47 cartridges have been found from the spot. After carrying out this drastic attack, the terrorists again went back up to the hill. What security establishment has been suggesting that there could be possibility that they were part of the Falcon squad, the squad which was made by the Lashkar-e-Taiba as a proxy squad, so that they can carry out these kind of attack. And these terrorists were certainly trained to stay in the hill for longer time period. That's what we have got to know. We have got the first list of the deceased. The total number of deceased in the list is of 16. 10 people are being shown injured, but what we got to know that most of the people have succumbed to injuries when they were shifted to the hospital.
All right, stay with us, Priyank. We also have Yavar joining us. Yavar, I believe you're at the Raj Bhavan, where Home Minister Amit Shah has been engaged in a meeting with Chief Minister, with the LG. What's the information coming out of that meeting? Any decisions, any information that you can share with us, Yavar?
Well, exactly. The meeting is underway at the Rajman Srinagar. Top officials from the paramilitary, security, intelligence, and the civil administration are meeting in. In fact, the Home Minister had his, details meeting with the Chief Minister of the Union Territory as well. This is away from the Raj Bhavan, goes to, and this is a fortified Gupka road from where this leads to the Raj Bhavan. Pertinent to mention here is that there has been a complete closure of this road. Very few passenger vehicles, mostly the locals and the tourists, are being allowed here. Now we have been given the understanding that the meeting is scheduled. As the Times Now has already reported that today in his itinerary, this was the only thing that he has to done here.
All right, we'll have to wait and see what really transpires tomorrow. Will the Home Minister visit the spot? Will he visit Anantnag Hospital where those victims are? And in fact, is there any particular decision that will be announced after today's meeting? All of these are aspects that we'll continue to track, Yavar, and I'll expect you to stay on with us and get us all that information right through the evening. Priyank and Yavar, for the moment, thanks so much for joining us with your updates. Let's take this across now to our guest. Joining us with us is Dr. Ravi Kiran Manjunath, who's one of the victims, his relative. Joining us also at this point of time is Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, defense expert and former army commander. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, defense expert, is with us. Yashovardhan Azad is also joining us, former senior IPS officer. Major Samarpal Singh Tur, retired defense expert, also joining us. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, defense expert, with us. Tushar Gupta, political analyst, also joining us on the show. Lalit Ambardar, activist, with us. Adam Scott Bezos is also with us. Adam Scott Bellos, I beg your pardon, CEO of Israel Innovation Fund. Let me start with you, Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad. You know, the kind of timing of this attack, many, of course, parallels that have been drawn in the past for the last 2.5 decades. We have seen this kind of attempt, but clearly the fact that they sought to identify the victims before carrying out this kind of strike, and over 27 casualties at the moment, and we certainly hope the number does not rise from here on. This really is one of the worst terror attacks that we've seen since Pulwama, and of course in terms of civilian casualties in the past 8 years perhaps.
You're absolutely correct. This is after a long time that a large number of civilian tourists have been targeted. More importantly is the fact that it is just, the summers have just set in, the tourist season has just commenced in Kashmir. You find a large number of tourists coming. Reports indicate all hotels, houseboats, guest houses are booked. People are enjoying themselves. They witnessed the tulip garden recently. A large number of people went to see this garden there. Pahalgam, all the other tourist spots are full of people. So what is it indicating? It is indicating to the world, and particularly to Pakistan and to the terrorist groups in Pakistan, that economy of Kashmir is on the rise. As you all know, the economy of Kashmir actually rests largely on tourism. And this is the period when tourism has been peak. The summer vacations have just started or starting. For the next 2-3 months, it is going to be full of people from all over India and perhaps rest of the world. So this is what actually, besides whatever has been said since the evening, I would like to emphasize on one single point, besides the VIPs in India, Vice President of America and all of that. The important thing is they have attacked the economy of Kashmir. The entire economy of Kashmir, which is on the rise, is now going to suffer. All bookings are going to get cancelled. Nobody is going to visit Kashmir. And who will suffer? The economy, which is booming. Now the question arises, why is it so? You see, there has been peace in Kashmir for a long time. We've had elections there. The Article 370 got abrogated. No fallout to that. And many other pluses. The only single factor which they were not able to target as yet was economy and terrorism. Therefore, this current situation is lending itself to a serious response, to a well-calibrated response. Now, how the response will go will not be just today, tomorrow, or the day after. It will be a well-considered response, and I do hope a response will go. What kind of response will go? There can be many kinds of responses. One amongst them is, of course, direct military involvement.
There are, of course, many kinds of responses. We'll be debating that. We'll discuss all of that. But for the moment, I want to bring in Yashovardhan Azad. Yashovardhan Azad, I don't know if you've seen the TRF statement, claiming responsibility for this attack. And I just want to read out from it. They've talked about 85,000 domiciles being issued to non-locals. They've said there's demographic change happening. And they're also talking about tourists, who later obtain domiciles and begin to act as if they own the land. This is very, very shocking, because the kind of nature of this attack, targeting innocent tourists, claiming that they want to come here for the domicile, it's absolutely bizarre to look at the kind of reason that is being spoken about here by the TRF.
Well, TRF is just a hireling of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, so whatever it says, we should take with a pinch of salt. These are not even proper militants, because the action which has been undertaken right now with very sophisticated weapons, because rounds and rounds of fire took place. There is an added teeth to their firing because of the M4s they have acquired. And this is, of course, at the behest of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. In fact, the sources are saying that the deputy-led chief is behind this operation. Now, the very important issue, as the general pointed out, is that the attack on the tourist season is a crippling thing for the economy. There is a heartening response from Pahalgam that all of them have united, and they're doing candle marches because they are saying that our jobs have been affected, and that is the most serious challenge which the state will have just now. There is no doubt, secondly, also that this will carry a lot of international coverage, because Vance, Vice President Vance is here. It has also come when the dates for the Amarnath Yatra have been announced. So all this indicates that this tactical shift, there's a huge shift which has taken place, because nobody was touching the terrorists so far, and Pahalgam was relatively safe. So this means that this attack, totally orchestrated from the other side, from across the border, needs a kind of a response which turns out to be very, very costly for our neighbor too. But before that, a lot of things have to be done. I'm sure that the security grid which we have, it's not that they are out in the woods and they will not be caught. There were at least 6 or 7 of them, according to the reports. And the attempt was definitely a kind of an ethnic cleansing. I'm sure that the security grid should be able to get them. And then we make out a case, inform the capitals of the world, and then take a solid action, which we can. In the meantime,
well, we have shown the resolve in the past, and we certainly, of course, Indians will hope that there is certainly does not go unanswered. But just to come in, those are the latest pictures coming in from the Raj Bhavan as far as the meeting that is taking place. In fact, all the security forces, their representatives, as well as, of course, the government representatives of the state, as well as the Centre, Union Home Minister and the Lieutenant Governor, of course, chairing that particular meeting at the Raj Bhavan is what we understand. These are the latest pictures coming in. Will there be any announcement post this, of course, is something that we'll be looking out for. Let me try and see if I can go across to Ravi Kiran, if the audio is through. All right, I think we lost that audio with Ravi Kiran. But let me take this question across to Lieutenant Raj Shukla, who's with us. Lieutenant Raj Shukla, a lot that's being spoken about in terms of our response. But, you know, the very nature of this particular attack, the very fact that you saw that young lady crying out about how they tried to identify the religion of her husband before he was shot, you know, that clearly goes to show that here are individuals who are targeting people on the basis of religion.
I mean, just let me add just 3 short points to what everybody has said. One is, you know, as you point out, if religious targeting has been one of the, what should we say, metrics of this attack, then it takes it to an entirely new level. So one point is that, you know, it is very obvious that terror is back as a tool of Pakistani statecraft. It is back in business. And this religious targeting is extremely dastardly and dangerous. The second point I'd like to make, you know, when I was commanding the division in Baramulla, I distinctly recall that there would be an encounter about 700-800 meters away from Gulmarg, but Gulmarg would not be touched. So there was some kind of code that they would not touch these tourist spots. Last year, there was an aberration in Gulmarg. And here, Pahalgam, which is the deliberate, serious targeting of tourists and all the, you know, people around it, the guides, the vendors, the poniwalas, all that. This takes this whole terror act to a new dimension. This larger point about it being timed with, you know, the visit of Mr. J.D. Vance, if this is the part of terror, you know, Pakistani statecraft, I think it is of the most stupid kind, because they haven't understood how the international context has changed. They don't understand the Trump administration. So I think here they have played their cards miserably miserably badly. And the last point I'd like to make, I mean, the attack is so gruesome, it is so dastardly, that to me it appears the only response has to be a very sharp, calibrated military response. It leaves us with no other option. So these are my initial comments. Let the debate broaden.
Right. And let me begin, in fact, Lalit Ambardar on that note. Lalit Ambardar, many questions, of course, that still remain unanswered. How could this have happened? You know, in terms of our security preparedness, of course, Pakistan itself is responsible for sending them across the border. But in terms of response, as we were discussing earlier, what is it that we would like to see happen? And we have seen surgical strikes in the past. We have seen airstrikes in the past. What is it that perhaps would be the most prudent course of action as far as India is concerned?
Madhav, what we have suffered in Pahalgam today is a miniature version of what Israel suffered on 7th of October 2023. It's almost same, but the implications of this Pahalgam massacre is going to be huge, because in terms of India, because, you know, this is a reminder that pan-Islamism inspired terror infested Kashmir jihad is alive and kicking. No doubt we have a very robust security system prevailing in Kashmir. But wherever they are able to breach it, penetrate it, they hit and strike. This is what we have to understand. I'm so sorry. I feel so sad, including due regards to all the panelists here. We are yet to understand what we have on hand in Kashmir. It's a menace of jihad. It's nothing to do with economy. When they inflicted genocidal ethnic cleansing on Kashmir Hindus, what tourism was involved in that?
Right.
Can you imagine? There is no deterrence. And also, what about the collaborators? collaborate. Look, the mainstream polity of Kashmir, the Lok Sabha member of National Conference in present Lok Sabha.
I'm just going to come to the politics. I don't have any political
Only
guests
other
on the
day
show
he
for the
said
moment.
that
Just a moment, hold on to your thoughts, please, Lalit Ambardar. Let me bring in Dr. Ravi Kiran, who's a relative of the victim Manjunath. Mr. Ravi Kiran, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Our condolences to you and your family members. It is undoubtedly a very, very difficult moment for you. But from what you have spoken to your family members, can you take us through what exactly has transpired at Pahalgam? What have you learned?
Sir, actually, we are far in Karnataka. Our cousin, they went to Kashmir as a tourist from past 3 days. I think before 3 days, they are supposed to come by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. They were supposed to back. Just as in Kashmir, only postpaid mobiles are active. No prepaid mobiles are active. My cousin had only one postpaid mobile, and their network was not so good. So we are unable to track him from past 2 to 3 days. Only once he spoke to us before the day before yesterday. He spoke to our family member, and they said they were all very safe. But today by 4:30 p.m. We came to know that there were some shootouts. Because of that, even our cousin sister, she told that they shot him at his head, and they came to our Pallavi, and they said that go to Modi and tell that we shot him. And our sister and our son both requested them to even shoot us also. Why shoot only my husband? You shoot us also. No, we don't shoot you. You just don't tell Modi that we are shooting you. Saying that, they shot them. That is the last words we heard from our cousin sister also. And from then, because of the too many calls and their battery were drained, and from past 2 to 3 hours, we are unable to make any contact with them. So there's some authorities said that they were shifted to Srinagar. If once their mobile got charged, we may be able to
but
get
is your
contact
cousin
with
sister
them.
safe? Is she at a safe location? What have you heard from her?
Yeah. My cousin sister and his son is safe. They are doing good. No problem with them. Probably the military people or the authorities have taken good care of them.
All right. And by when are they expected to come back to Karnataka? What have you heard from them?
Sir, maybe tomorrow morning or maybe by afternoon, they will airlift them. The discussions were something like that. We exactly no first-hand information we have got yet, sir. Whatever information we are seeing in TV, that is the only information we are having actually.
Right.
So there is no first-hand information from any government authority.
All right. Dr. Ravi Kiran, I'd like to thank you for joining us, sir. Certainly a very difficult moment for your family. Our condolences with you and your family members. And we certainly hope, of course, that there is justice done in the case of the individual that we are looking at, Manjunath, and of course, his family members as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me take this back to our panelists. Lieutenant Rakesh Sharma, if I can bring you in, just look at the manner in which they've carried out this attack. This is an attack where terrorists are clearly, trying to get as much publicity as they can. The very fact that they have interacted with some people, they have killed a few people and they have left a message that they want should go out on the media very clearly, the manner in which they've spoken.
Yes, see, I am son of the soil and I'm speaking to you from Jammu. Well, the Pahalgam terror attack is not like a normal terror attack. It is, I would say, even bigger than the Pulwama terror attack. Innocent 30 people have been killed. And the way they have been killed, it is, gruesome, like it was said, and it is condemnable. But the way they carried out this, executed this, I dare say that it is evident that it was a pre-planned, it was pre-reckoned, and it was executed in the religious kind of a targeting, which probably earlier started in the Jammu region. So I say this point is quite worrisome, and look at the timing of this attack per se. Some have already brought it out. The first part is that, you know, Pakistan is like a international beggar. It is beggar at home. It is beggar internationally. Their beggars are being deported from Saudi Arabia and all those places. Its economy is on the doldrums. Its western frontier is on the boil. They have problems there. And now, just to, I would say, this is a tactic. This is something known as, desperation and diversion tactics. So it is desperation which is driving them to the diversion tactics. Probably they want, Pakistan Army wants that we must do something so that they can get together.
Absolutely. And in fact, there's some breaking news coming in, so please stay with us. An IB officer posted in Hyderabad is one of those who lost their lives in Pahalgam terrorist attack. He was on leave and visited Kashmir along with his family. He was killed by terrorists in front of his wife and 2 children. Manish Ranjan is posted in Hyderabad and is a native from Bihar, is the information that we have coming in. This is, of course, the latest update. We have more updates, of course, coming in on the show. But let me take this question across to Major Samarpal Singh Toor. You know, the very fact that they have chosen to attack the male tourists, chosen to leave behind female tourists and children, there's a very clear pattern over here of the manner in which this attack has taken place. Major Samarpal Singh.
Madhav, they've been doing ethnic cleansing in Balochistan. There have been flatbed trucks filled with containers of, young kids, all males. They've been wiped out systematically like this. Balochistan Liberation Army or Balochistan Liberation Front, none of them have any manpower left. They've killed all the males, including children, starting from the age of 8 years and above. So यहाँ पे भी there is no difference in the pattern. And, the way things have happened, firstly, it is such a dastardly and a, big attack. It cannot have occurred without internal help. Without the internal help, itna confidence, so much of confidence is not possible for any terrorist outfit to come and attack. And thirdly, if it is a tourist hotspot, where was JKP? Not a single det, not a single Jammu Kashmir police constable was present at these locations throughout. And you know this is a tourist peak season. Is this what you selected Omar Abdullah for? Is this why you elected this guy? The Abdullah family should be thrown out from India. Or they should be sent to Sentinel Island.
But, Major Samarpal Singh, while I completely appreciate your sentiment, there are questions that have to be asked of the center too. At the end of the day, there is the fact that it is a union territory. But let me bring in Tushar Gupta. Tushar Gupta, the point is that the blame game will happen. I mean, that's inevitable. Nothing is powerful, nothing is there which does not, make it to the political debates in our country. And it's already started. I don't want to make it political today. But at the end of the day, there are going to be questions asked about who's responsible. There is a huge security establishment. We spend crores and crores, tens of thousands of crores on the security of Jammu and Kashmir, and yet such an attack happens. So that question is inevitable, and particularly because it is a centrally ruled state when it comes to Jammu and Kashmir. Tushar.
Madhav, the politicization of a national security matters, fortunately, we would have to live with, but the center cannot shake off responsibility. The mere fact that the Home Minister has flown to Kashmir right away in the evening and has landed there, is holding a meeting with the governor and everyone, it's a testament that the center has to take responsibility. There's no escaping that fact. Yes, we can ask what was the police force doing? It was a peak tourism season. Where was the establishment? What was the army doing? What was the intelligence doing? Everything. A lot of questions can be asked, but to cut the chase, it has been a failure on the part of the security establishment in Kashmir, and the proportional or rather a disproportional response must follow, one that Pakistan understands. And knowing this government, a response will follow, Madhav. But the question is that response will also be politicized. The problem starts there. Today, if the government responds as it should, as the military will at some point, there are people waiting to even politicize that response. Tonight, we can only think about the victims, their families. We can only think about that. And let's be very clear about one thing, Madhav. This was an attack on the Hindus first, and the economy of Kashmir, because a lot of people seem to be confusing the two. The tourism economy is the collateral damage. The actual victims here are the Hindus. One shudders to think that the terrorists actually had the time to selectively mark the people they wanted to kill, to check if they were Hindus or non-Hindus, and then kill them. So one shudders to think what was really going on in their mind, and that too in a tourist hotspot. So clearly the dynamics have changed, the preparations have changed, the entire rules that were sort of unsaid rules that were being followed up till now, they all have been tossed into the dustbin, and the government will have to factor that going forward, that the anti-India establishment, wherever it is sitting, within Kashmir or outside Kashmir, on the embassy, beyond the embassy, they all are now not thinking about the rules of the past. They want to ensure that disruption becomes the new norm.
Tushar, I'm sorry I'm interrupting you because there's a breaking news coming in. Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed his condolences as well. He's put out a message, and I quote, "Kindly accept the sincere condolences over the tragic consequences of the terror attack in Pahalgam, whose victims were civilian citizens of various countries. This brutal crime has no justification whatsoever. We expect that its organizers and perpetrators will face a deserved punishment." I'd like to reiterate our commitment to further increasing cooperation with Indian partners in fighting terror in all its forms and manifestations. Please convey words of sincere sympathy and support to the near and dear ones of the deceased, as well as wishes for a speedy recovery of all injured. Very, very important statement coming in from a world leader there. And let me bring in Yashovardhan Azad. I know diplomacy is not your area of expertise necessarily, but you have J.D. Vance, you have Vladimir Putin, who are commenting on this. And the very fact that there are victims of foreign origin, foreign nationals, who are victims in this terror attack, much like we saw in the case of 26/11. How do you see that also impacting on the larger international community when it comes to India's own response to this particular terror strike?
Well, let me say that this is a favorable situation for India to respond, because Putin himself has been suffering from terrorism, the North Caucasus, and has been articulating against terrorism at quite a few platforms. Similarly, Trump is somebody who does not accept terrorism at all, anywhere. In fact, his hardline stance is so hardline that it's almost surprising how much he'll support counter terror measures. In fact, but the point is really that whatever action you take right now in response, will it carry the same deterrence? We have seen what happened in Balakot. Yes, we did a surgical strike. We did that, and the right thing to do. But this time we have to do it in a manner which comes in really very costly. There are two ways of doing it. First of all, you can impose costs in a different manner, through covert measures, and which can, you can up the ante even now. But as far as the actual official strike goes, that has to be really, it has to be discussed and then done, because this is very, very important, because this kind of butchery should never be accepted by the country, especially now in this international environment when every country seems to be against terrorism.
Right. Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, if I can come to you on that. Of course, the response is something that you were discussing a short while earlier, and I did, in fact, interrupt at that point of time. But the most appropriate response, given that as far as the international community is concerned, certainly appears to be solidly backing India at this point of time.
Absolutely correct. The first and the foremost issue is who is the person, who is the brain behind it. Let us be very clear, this operation has been planned at the highest level in Pakistan, the Pakistan Army and the ISI. It has been well planned, it has been well rehearsed, and a lot of reconnaissance has been done with the help of people who support these terrorists located inside Indian territory. As far as the creation of this group is concerned, this is all trained and armed and equipped and supported by the Pakistan Army from across the border. That is one part. The action has taken place. We have suffered huge casualties, a great amount of loss to the nation. Now the next question is, what is the answer? The answer is very simple. It has to be well calibrated. It has to be something that will hurt the Pakistan government, the Pakistan military, the Pakistan ISI. There are many ways of doing it. There are many ways of doing it through international efforts. There are many ways for doing it through the task force that looks after this money, FATF as it's called. They have to be brought back into the black category again. Diplomatically, we must work towards it. And finally, such a serious economic blow should be given to this country that they should remember for many, many years to come. There are many options which we unfortunately cannot discuss on the television, but there are many, many economic activities that can be undertaken by a country like India, where the world is going to support them today. There is no kind of a human angle to it any longer. The President of the United States, the President of Russia, all support this action that India is going to undertake. So there should be no hesitation on the part of our country, on the part of our establishment, on the part of our forces, to take an action.
Well, I don't think there would be any hesitation when it comes to such a national security crisis as this situation is, and this kind of an attack that we've seen. I don't think there is any question of hesitation on the part of any citizen or anyone who's part of our security forces. But Adam Scott Billos is also joining us. He's CEO of the Israel Innovation Fund. Before I come across to you, Adam, I want to bring in Lieutenant General Raj Shukla. Lieutenant Raj Shukla, I mean, of course, there will be, demands that there should be revenge, that India should avenge the kind of attack that has taken place. India has shown this resolve in the past. There have been covert measures of doing it. There have been more overt measures in the more recent past, where we've seen airstrikes, where we've seen surgical strikes. Where do you think we are headed this time around?
See, while agreeing with much of what General Shankar Prasad has said, my nuanced response is this, that all those measures, of course, will have to be taken. Those web of measures from diplomacy to economics, this, that. But given the gravity of what has happened, the centrality of that response has to be strategic military in nature, in my view. And two, I mean, there are many options across domains, land, sea, the maritime domain. But, I mean, it will have to be thought through. And one, point I would like to inject, that the response has to be powerful, calibrated, but the response should be cold-blooded. It should be divorced from the larger emotional context, because that is, at the heart of a military response. Two, I think this time around, the international system will be thoroughly with us. There are already early indicators that the international system is with us. Pakistan has provoked this attack. We have responded to similar provocations in the past, but in terms of, the ghastliness of it, the dastardliness of it, they have taken it to another level. We have no other option but to do this. And if I may make just two connected points, this is also a wake-up call for two other issues. One is, if your foreign policy is muscular, we have to always make sure that our instrument of force is well-resourced and, constantly nourished. And just one last point. It is just not Pakistan. I mean, people were talking of Israel. My understanding is our strategic environment as it exists today is perhaps grimmer than Israel. Look at what's on our northern borders. The military component of the power differential with China is $450 billion. Pakistan, you have Pakistan, China, Turkey, all drones and all that. Lal Manohar Heart, what Mr. Muhammad Yunus said, this should wake us up that it is really grim. There is a larger strategic design, and we have to not only strike back hard, but also begin to think long. That is the whole point. Strike hard and think long. So I think this is a seminal moment for our statecraft, and we have no option but to respond in a very calibrated, sophisticated, resolute and determined manner.
Well, very well said, sir. And before I go across to others, Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma and other panelists, let me bring in Adam, because Adam, one of our panelists has drawn a parallel to what happened, as far as Israel is concerned. And clearly, of course, they're calling it a mini attack, similar to what Israel had faced a little over a year ago. Your initial comments in terms of how Israel has responded, because there will obviously be parallels in terms of India's response and how Israel has responded to terror in the recent past.
Right. So clearly, this is a very similar attack on a smaller scale, like October 7th. It was the first thing I thought of when I heard of everything. And it's very explicit that civilians were targeted, and this is a completely civilian targeted attack in order to harm as many individuals that are innocent as possible, especially given the region and where it took place. I think it's very clear that as soon as the culprit is known, even though it's very clear it's probably from the Pakistani side, that India will have to respond as swiftly and as intensely as possible in order to make an example of what India will be able to do in terms of their response. This is not playing with Islamic terror and playing with not taking radical terrorism seriously, and a coordinated response seriously is a great way to allow more attacks to occur. And I completely agree with what the other gentleman said. The United States will most likely probably be 1,000% behind India doing whatever it needs to do to maintain its strategic sovereignty and a strategic stance in the region. It's very clear. Not only that, there's a wonderful relationship between Modi and President Trump. So I do believe that the most swift response that is decisive.
Well,
is
Adam,
going to be
you know, it's strange that you were just mentioning President Trump, and there's already a post of President Donald Trump that's come out in social media. I'm just going to quickly put out that information, and before our viewers, let's quickly pull up that tweet on the screen. It's from Truth Social, I believe, not a tweet, but I'm just going to read that out. Deeply disturbing news out of Kashmir. The United States stands strong with India against terrorism. We pray for the souls of those lost and for the recovery of the injured. Prime Minister Modi and the incredible people of India have our full support and deepest of sympathies. Our hearts are with you all. Very, very big statement coming in, and perhaps the most important statement outside of India that has come in, which very clearly shows, Lalit Ambardar, the kind of nature of this attack, the sympathies of the United States President very clearly mentioned over here. He has mentioned solidarity with the Prime Minister and the people of India, the full support of the United States and deepest sympathies. This is more than just a statement.
Trump has always been outrightly against Islamism. He is, in fact, first time he spoke about against Islamism, he spoke it during his first tenure on Indian soil. He said the biggest threat to the humanity is Islamism. We have to fight against it. Now, I want to draw comparison, draw analogy with what Israel suffered and what we have suffered in Pahalgam today. You see, there one thing that was common was complacency. The Israelis thought they are pumping in dollars, in loads of dollars to Hamas via this Doha, and they thought the Hamas is never going to attack them again. In spite of having intelligence inputs, they took it lightly. Similarly, in Kashmir also, we see a lull. And I tell you, periodic lull is strategic lull, because Kashmir jihad is a hybrid war. It has evolved into a hybrid war now. Whenever they are able to breach your security grid, they target you, hit you. And second, which is very different from Israel, is complicity. We have our insiders, sleeper cells, and especially the mainstream Islamists of Kashmir. Don't forget. Okay. Don't forget when Hassan Nasrullah, the Hezbollah jihadi commander, was
we're not
killed,
getting into the politics
Kashmiri
for the moment. I'm trying to make this. I'm trying to keep this away from politics today. There will of course be politics, undoubtedly, Lalit Ambardar. There will be plenty of time for blame game, but all that can wait today, for the moment at least. Let me bring in Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma. Lieutenant Rakesh Sharma, this is very, very big. Vladimir Putin, President Trump, several world leaders who are coming out and expressing their solidarity with India. This is perhaps, and we've seen in the past Trump regime also, how the American government, the United States government, has been very supportive of India's role when it comes to such crises, particularly crisis with Pakistan. Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma.
Well, just two short points. Firstly, I want to bring out the timing and the place of this particular attack. Timings, J.D. Vance here, TRF takes responsibility, which is an outpost of the LET, just to prove it to the international community that there is a militancy or insurgency in Kashmir. Second, I would say the place, the timing is again the Amarnath Yatra, which has been already brought out. It is to derail that. And second is the place. Place is Pahalgam, which is the most favored destination for the tourists. And also it coincides that the Amarnath Yatra, larger portion, 60% of the people do the Amarnath Yatra from here. So it is to derail that process. Now need for the action. No, like others have said, there is a need for a very strong action, and it has to be not one but multiple action. It has to be twofold. One is the direct action, and the second is the covert action. For the and the third thing that I want to say is that in Jammu and Kashmir, we need to evolve a new security strategy. They have been talking of new and new. There is nothing new in that.
Right.
We are here. They are not even involving the ex-servicemen. They are not coordinating. There is nothing of the Trans-Pir Panjal Accord.
Okay.
You know, all this thing has happened because the terror ecosystem has survived. When you put pressure on Jammu side, these people
well,
have
is
gone
it
from
yes
Doda
that is perhaps true. We have seen a large number of attacks on the Jammu side in the past, and in fact a lot of pushback there as well. But there is some more information coming in, and this is a statement that has been put out by Congress Parliamentary Party Chief Sonia Gandhi, and she has come out to say that I'm deeply saddened and devastated to learn of the dastardly terror attack on innocent tourists in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam region. Resorting to violence is an act of cowardice and needs to be condemned in no uncertain terms. We need to work to build broad social consensus against terror that existed in the past. It's imperative that safety of our citizens is ensured and peace is restored to the region. I was trying to avoid politics, but I guess sometimes it's inevitable. Tushar Gupta, your response to this statement of Sonia Gandhi. Please unmute yourself.
First things first, I'm just going through Sonia Gandhi's statement, and one very important correction. These are not innocent tourists, these are innocent Hindus. Because they were killed for their religion, it's important that their religion is not forgotten. I'm not the one to go for a Hindu-Muslim divide, Madhav. I've been on your shows a number of times. But today, it's appalling. Even in Mumbai, when the attacks happened, the terrorists were on a killing spree, but they were not marking their people as per religion. What we have seen today, what we have heard today, it just blows one mind that how can someone be this disdained in their hate for one community? So it's very, very important. We do not talk about innocent tourists. We talk about innocent Hindus because they were murdered for their religion. Let their religion not be forgotten. Number one. Number two, even Rahul Gandhi, when he put out a statement earlier, he sort of remarked that the government had been claiming that the normalcy was there in Kashmir and it's all a charade in certain way. Please understand that the security forces have to get it right every single day. There are some celebrated officers, ex-servicemen on this panel who know much more than me. And they would also vouch for the statement that the security forces have to get it right every single day. The terrorists have to get it right only once. That's also misfortune we have to live with.
Absolutely. And it's Pakistan that is responsible for this. There's no doubt about the kind of, reason as to where the blame lies. Of course, there will be cause for introspection. But let me quickly bring in another quick update. The Embassy of Iran has put out a statement strongly condemning the terrorist attack in the city of Pahalgam, Jammu Kashmir, which resulted in the death and injury of a large number of innocent people. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the government and the people of India, especially to families of the victims of the attack, and wish a speedy recovery and good health to the injured. So, Major Samarpal Singh Toor, these condemnations are not just coming from Russia, not just from the United States, but from Iran and other parts of the world as well. Very significant.
I mean, Madhav, just look at the magnitude of this attack. It has shaken up the international diaspora. The head of states of the most powerful nations are condemning this act. So I am very positive and sure that the Indian government is going to take a big decision, a big decisive action against what has happened. And with President Trump stating that, India has America's full support is, I think, something that one must read between the lines. And whatever statement a week back that General Asif Munir had given in terms of the hatred that he spewed against the Hindus and the two-nation theory is definitely linking an encouragement of his words to the terrorist outfits which have resulted in today's attack. And even, you connect the dots, it is definitely going to involve the Pakistan establishment, and there will be now, there will be vengeance.
Right.
Because enough of, these figures of 12 killed,
40 killed, 25 killed. I think the water has gone above the nose.
Absolutely.
And it's time to hit back.
All right,
And I
Lieutenant
think
Raj
that is
Shukla,
probably
I want you to come in on this. Of course, enough is enough, say some of our panelists. But just a few days ago, is it a mere coincidence that we saw the army chief of Pakistan come out and, reiterate the two-nation theory, making that fairy speech, a lot of incendiary comments that were made, and, many comments which caused a lot of controversy even over here in India, politically speaking. Do you think this is all just a mere coincidence?
No, see, not at all. Just look at General Asim Munir's speech. I mean, look at Pakistan, Baluchistan collapsing, what is happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The political flow has been absolutely disrupted. So what does he do? He takes out an old rusted arrow in the quiver of statecraft, the only thing that the demented Pakistani establishment has, and does this. So silly. But I think this time Pakistan has erred grievously. And with the responses that we are getting from Mr. Trump and the larger international community, is it a good time this time in our response to target the ISI and the Pakistan army, the establishment as distinct from the state? It is I think, great opportunity to make this distinction and put this thing, to an end once and for all. Now, this will demand some very clever, agile, fleet-footed statecraft. But I think it's a God-sent opportunity to put this terror menace to an end, once and for all.
Right. Adam Scott Bellows, what would your response be? The big question that many have is that while there's been a long-drawn military operation that Israel itself has done, a quick strike, a long-drawn operation, what exactly would be the response that you would see India taking, given the kind of support that India is receiving internationally?
I would see India taking as decisive of a response as they could possibly muster up without losing international support. It's extremely clear that the entire world is rallying behind you at this time. And I didn't say this before when I came on, but my deepest condolences to anybody watching that's connected to anybody that's been lost. The news keeps coming out and the death toll keeps increasing as I'm checking my phone as we're even on the air right now. It's terrible what's happened. I would not be surprised if a full maximum pressure campaign on who committed this heinous act is done. And I wouldn't be surprised if the reciprocity for this is not tenfold. I think that the destruction of any type of perpetrator of this attack would be completely accepted by the international community, given the rallying that we're just getting updates of it right now of every single country that's getting completely behind you. So I don't see you guys dropping any type of weapons of mass destruction on Pakistan tomorrow, but it would be very clear that whatever decision that your government will be taking will be that of something that is extremely decisive and will probably be a blow that cripples whoever committed this crime.
Adam Scott Bellows, like to thank you. Lalit Ambarwar, Tushar Gupta, Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, Major Samarpal Singh Toor, as well as Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad and Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, and of course, Yashovardhan Azad, who was earlier with us. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us at this moment. There's a big breaking coming in at this point of time. A Belgian court has rejected the bail plea of Mehul Choksi. A three-judge bench had heard his bail plea earlier, and now this bail plea has been rejected by a Belgian court, is what we are told. Big breaking update coming in as far as Mehul Choksi is concerned. Remember how he had been arrested following a lot of sustained pressure from India, and now Dipankar, of course, getting us this information. Big update there, Dipankar. What exactly transpired during these proceedings, and on what basis was this bail plea rejected?
Well, yes, it is a big breaking news that has been coming in for Mehul Choksi, that it's a setback for him, that his bail has been denied by the Belgian court. A three-judge bench had heard the bail petition that had been moved by Mehul Choksi in Antwerp. And after hearing that was held for nearly half an hour, the bench reserved its order. And after mulling for over 2 hours on the what the conditions would be, what the submissions were made before the Antwerp court, the Belgian court at about 9:30 Indian Standard Time pronounced the order and said that his bail was denied, and has in a way cleared the path for his extradition process to continue. This
Well,
is
that is a
breaking
very,
news that
very
is-
big update indeed. And will that extradition finally see light of day is a very big question, Deepankar. But certainly for the moment, a huge win for India following his arrest a few days ago. Now his bail plea being rejected. What does this mean for extradition? We'll be bringing you more updates on that. Thanks so much, Deepankar, for joining us on the show. And thanks so much, viewers, for joining us this evening on the Newshour Agenda as well.